A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is
Yeah.
being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
what would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
that just we are the only society on earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, of which I know many, they're irrelevant.
There we go. There we go. You know, you know, it's the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure you can hear me now. Hold on. Yeah. Sorry. So the funny thing is, I was just saying there we go. Okay. I was just double checking. On my end. Okay. As I was just saying, hey, we have sound issues, right? Because there's a new mixer coming to the desk here, and I just ordered it on Amazon a couple of days ago, so we should be good. I'm not sure if we fixed the delay issue, so give me a sec here. Let me double check and make sure. I'm gonna look at Rumble on my phone and just see real quick. Technical, you know, guys, the unofficial name of the Daily Breakdown has always been technical difficulties. So let's just check real quick. Issue. So give me a sec here. Let me double check and make sure. Yeah, it looks like it's lined up on my end. So that's good. That's one problem down. Let's see here. Let's get that. We got all sorts of technical difficulties right now. Let's move this camera up a tiny bit. Get my full pretty face in here. If you guys didn't hear the joke about my eyes from yesterday, go back and watch yesterday's show. I'm not doing your job for you. All right. So, as I was saying, right, we got a new mixer coming. We got a new mic arm coming. We did some cool stuff. I saw some people in the chat earlier while I was about to join. Yes, it is Woke Wednesday. Earmuffs. We got the earmuffs. We figured out the sound issue on earmuffs. For those of you that don't know, this show is mostly safe for work, but probably not. There's going to be times, but I will try my best to warn you when there is going to be foul language on this show with the earmuffs.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
Earmuff it. Okay. And if for some reason I drop an F-bomb, or even worse, I'll try to keep those rare. I do get passionate. If I give you one and I forgot to give you the warning, we'll go ahead and we'll apologize with one of these.
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs to him. Earmuffs.
All right, guys, let's get this show started. So, yes, it is Woke Wednesday. But if you are new here, and I'm new here, so, you know, what is this, my third show? If you're new here, the Daily Breakdown goes like this. We break down the news of the day, the news du jour, all right? So what I do is I go on the internet, I just type in the word news. Well, look at that. And sometimes this happens. We have some repeat stories from yesterday, so we'll skip those. But we do have a tab up here on the Brave bar where we can you know, move around if we want to. Now, let's pay the bills. Sponsors for today. Now, I'm giving these sponsors all a free week, right? That's basically the way that I said it. I go, listen, I'm gonna try to get you guys to commit. So we're gonna do 3 sponsors 5 days a week for the first week, and then they'll be, hey, if they pay me, we'll talk about them. If I don't say shit, then they didn't give me any money. So but Patriot Pouch, these are all great companies, by the way. Patriot Pouch. All right, I was not even aware. I've been using these things for about a month now. I was not even aware that this is not even nicotine. This is nixodine, right? So we're going to get the owner of Patriot Pouch on here for Monday. And for those of you that don't know, we have this theme, right? We have a theme of the day for each show. Mondays are going to be Maha Mondays. We're going to be talking about healthy alternatives to lifestyle. We're going to be talking about policy decisions from Robert F. Kennedy and the Trump administration. We're going to pick a story that's at least promoting some type of healthy lifestyle. And I think that this is a good one because, smoking's really bad for you. I do the vape. I know. It's less bad for you. And I think nicotine pouches are even less bad for you than that. I don't know anything about nixodine, but it says that it's even better than that. So this could be the best one. Could also be terrible. So we'll find out. We're gonna ask the owner. We're gonna do our own research. Always do your own research. Nicotine-free, tobacco-free, avoids traditional nicotine and addictive properties. I love this stuff because they're not only a patriotic company, but they're also a funny company. Check out this flavor here. Orange, you glad you're an American? Best flavor ever. But yeah, check these guys out at patriotpouchusa.com and use code MISFIT10. If you tried to use code MISFIT10 yesterday, it was not live. They told me it is live now. So if you're going to try to quit the vape, quit the smoking, quit anything, try a healthy alternative. This isn't a woke left company like Zyn. It's not a woke right company like Alp with Tucker Carlson. All right, next up, real quick. Everyone knows who this guy is. That's Bill Goldberg and the people over at Patriot Tactical. These guys are great. I got my little Patriot Tactical out the front knife here. Really well-made products. Great company with great people. Their gun bag is second to none. Their rifle bags are amazing. This guy right here, I got one of these and I took it out to Houston last week. I put 3 rifles in because I have 2 shorties. I have 2 AR pistols and I put my Chris Vector in there. I put 2 pistols in there. I put all my range gear in there. It's got the backpack straps. It's got the shoulder strap. It's got the handle. Everything you need. So go to patriottactical.com and use code MISFIT10. Have you noticed a theme here? All right, 10% off for that too. And finally, Meat So Horny is our third sponsor. No code yet, but this company is run by Jacoby Ray. Some of you guys might know him from TikTok, the Wee Woo guys, Wee Woo. But they got Rub Your Chub. Whether you're working with a plump rump, thick legs, or just need a general rub for your chub, Meat So Horny has the tools to turn your ordinary cookouts delicious, or deviously delicious. Yum! All right, now, let's get to the news. So, yesterday, we were talking about this headline here from the BBC. Why did the U.S. and Israel attack Iran and how long would the war last? Check out that episode. But basically my answer is when you chant death to America and try to build a nuke, hold on. We got to do it. We got to do it.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
When you chant death to America and try to build a nuke, fuck you. Die. Right? That's the reason. You don't even need another reason, by the way. Like there's all these people that are like, oh, but what about you? Shut up. What about that? What about that? We're going to be talking a lot about the dangers of radical Islam, the threat of radical Islam in this show. But that's good enough. You don't need to go deeper. Okay. Next up, we got, I haven't heard this story. Daily Mail, back up. I'm an American. Incredible U.S. airman with medical with metal pipe. Why is this? Hold on. I got the zoom is off on this one. Let me see something here. I don't know why this is doing that. All right. Technical difficulties. We love the technical difficulties in this show. For some reason, it's not going left to right. But let's see here. This is the moment an American pilot who parachuted out of an F-15 fighter. Jesus, what this jet? Hold on, I'm gonna pull it out and. Oh, all right. It's not that kind of show. You know what? Never mind. This is the moment an American pilot who parachuted out of an F-15 fighter jet shot down over Kuwait was threatened by a local with a pipe. Footage on social media shows a group of men approaching the pilot and shouting while one of them brandishes a metal pipe. The pilot is heard repeating back up, stop, as the men move closer and closer, appearing to think the airman is Iranian. Ah, that makes sense now. That makes sense. The pilot was aboard one of the 3 U.S. jets that were mistakenly shot down over the Middle East, Eastern country on Monday. So yeah, I see now. I get it. So this guy right here was like, yo, bro, you better shave off that mustache. You look a lot like an Iranian, and we beat them to death over here. And he was like, yo, bro, chill. I'm American. And they were like, oh, we love America. All right, so good morning, Misfit and LFA family. I love it. I love to see the chat going crazy today. All right. You know, actually, I was we do restream on this, and I actually forgot to check. Yeah, dude. Yeah, we do. We got some chats. So restream apparently has like all the chats, but I'm sticking to the Rumble chat because you guys are more important. Okay, you're the most important. You're the mostest important. The LFA chat is the one that I will read during the show, and everybody else can screw. But I will keep it in the background just in case. All right, but yeah. So apparently that story had a happy ending. So that's good. That's good news. All right. We covered Hillary Clinton storming out of that. You know, I see a lot of guys. Look, I'm not talking shit. I'm not criticizing the other people that, you know, cover certain stories. But it's really not a story. It's something that you work into a show, right? Like I'm going to shoot you guys straight. There are a lot of people. Let's go full screen for this one. All right. There are a lot of people who, when they put together a show, right, they think about, will this generate an emotional response, and will I be able to sensationalize it, right? Benny Johnson. All right. Look, some of you guys might like Benny Johnson. I think he's fake as shit, right? I really do. I've seen him. I've met him. No. Every one of his headlines is a sensational headline. All of his, if everything's hold on, wait a minute. Here we go.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
Earmuffs. If everything is a fucking bombshell, then nothing is. Okay? That's how, like, if everything is a bombshell, nothing is. There's a new bombshell every week with some people. And I'm like, dude, just hold on.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
Shut the fuck up and report the news. All right? Like, can we get back to that? Because here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the new media being worse than the mainstream media. And mainstream media set the bar pretty effing low. I didn't want to do the thing again. All right? So just... can we? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because the Hillary Clinton walking out of a thing or slamming her hand on the table, it's definitely something you should cover. It's not something that you should spend an hour on. All right? And look, it's your show. Do whatever you want. I'm not your mom. I'm just saying, if we want to create the new media to replace the old media, maybe we shouldn't do what the old media did. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong here, guys. I think I'm right. I'm usually right. I'm right about a lot of shit. I'm not doing earmuffs for shit, by the way. They can say it on South Park. You guys can grow up. All right. Let's go. Let's go. All right. I look, there's people that feel a certain way about this one. All right, let me tell you my thoughts. Rising star Tallarico topples progressive firebrand Crockett in high stakes Texas Senate Democratic primary. Okay, so bye-lashes. All right, she done. She gone. All right, she is the fakest chick in Congress, and that's saying a lot. And what I mean by that is, you know, that hood rat accent. She was raised like very wealthy. She wasn't raised in the hood. Right? I'm more hood than she is. I used to hang out in the frickin' Beach Street projects in Rosendale, Massachusetts. All right, trust me, I got more hood experience than Jasmine Crockett, and I am milk colored. So let's tone that shit down. Now, the reason why I think this is a good thing is because it's exposing, it's a fracture, right? Because the reason why people think it's a bad thing, people on the right think it's a bad thing that Jasmine Crockett lost, is because she would have been easier to beat in a general. All right, look, I live in Texas. We're gonna beat Tallarico. All right, it's not a problem. Right? He's just as easy to beat. Maybe a little bit harder, but that's like saying, all right, I'm gonna beat the boys' little league team versus the girls' little league team. Texas is not turning blue. Okay, it's not happening. I live here. I know. Unless they cheat, that's a possibility. But then it doesn't matter who the hell they're running. But here's the thing about this story, all right? Well, I'll read you some of the story, but bottom line is, this is creating a fracture. We want them to be infighting. We want them to be fracturing. We're dealing with the woke right, and we're dealing with all the bullshit over here, right? We want them to be doing that too, right? Thank God they are falling apart. Thank God the Dems are doing such a great job at effing up, because if they were doing really well right now, I'd be scared, because we have a lot of stuff that we're trying to clean up in our own yard. And very promisingly, we saw some of that getting cleaned up yesterday. I'll get to a couple of things there. But we're just going to do this last story because I really have a lot to get to, and we're already 20 minutes in. But rising star Tallarico topples progressive firebrand. She's already talking about cheating and stuff. Let's go. James Tallarico, a Democratic state lawmaker from Texas with a surging national profile, defeated Rep. Jasmine Crockett, a nationally known politician, progressive firebrand, and vocal critic and foil of President Donald Trump. Tallarico, 36, will now try to become the first Democrat in nearly 4 decades to win a Senate election in Texas. Guys, look, here's anybody that still has this whole, like, I'm really worried about Tallarico thing. Beto was a way tougher candidate, and he wasn't a problem. All right. I can tell you that people still have not pulled down their Beto bumper stickers. Like Robert Francis O'Rourke, Beto, right? It says BETO, still on cars. You know, there is a freaking mural for Kamala Harris. I'm no bullshit. Hold on. Full screen. There is a freaking, you know, hold on. We're doing it.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
There is a fucking mural of Kamala Harris across the street. Things like 12 feet high. And it looks like her as the Statue of Liberty. It's still there. They haven't painted over it yet. They don't know how to lose. They don't. They're like, that's my president. No. I've thought about it many times before you guys ask. Yes, I have thought about shooting it with a paintball gun many times. Or just straight up painting over it. But I love that it's there. I love that it's there. The longer it's there, the more I realize how out of touch with reality the left is. It's a daily reminder. It's a hooker ad. I love this new chat. You guys are the best. All right, we're doing it. Somebody in the chat, is it a hooker ad? I went viral. Back to full screen. I went viral. One of the things that I originally got canceled for, or they tried to cancel me for, when I first joined the internet, I was doing a tile page. I wasn't doing a political page. I was doing a tile page, and in tile, you wear knee pads, right? And I'm working on this house, and I set up the camera, and I used to make funny tile videos, right? And I'm standing with my knee pads on. I drop to my knees, and I go, I'm about to make more money on my knees today than Kamala Harris working her way through Congress. And it got millions of views, and everybody was coming at me. They were like, I'm gonna come and, kill you. And I was like, dude, it's a joke. This is before I realized how crazy cancel culture really was. But yeah, that was a good one. Anyway, ADD. All right. But long story short, straight white male beats black woman in Democratic Party, causing the Democrat to accuse the Democrats of cheating and being racist. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because they are falling apart, right? Our primaries yesterday, also very promising. By the way, guys, I don't know if you noticed right here under me, I added my social media handles. So if you guys want to go give me a follow, on X, it's MisfitPatriot _, Instagram, The Misfit Patriot. But let's get to Woke Wednesday. Let's jump into it early. All right, we're about 5 minutes earlier than we would normally do it because I have a lot to cover on this. This is my bread and butter. This is where I shine, right? Edumacation, right? Edumacating. Actually, hold on real quick. By the way, can we talk about how good the producer is over at LFA? I mean, this guy is good, right? Where is it? I just posted it. There we go. Can we talk about how good producer Eli is? All right, I text him. I text him and I go, make me look like a teacher pointing to a chalkboard and on the chalkboard have it say horseshoe theory. And look at that. That looks like me. Well, it's an AI me. Right? But this is what we're going to talk about today on Woke Wednesday. What is the woke right? Because a lot of you have heard this term, and I'm not sure you've heard it from the guy who pretty much started it. Me. That's right. It wasn't James Lindsay. He's conceded this. We're friends. James Lindsay made it popular, but I pretty much started it. I said it before Dan Crenshaw. I was saying it way back in 2021 when I was on TikTok. And back then, though, I didn't have the terminology down, like the definition down. I've refined it. I've made it very easy for you. Right? So what is the woke right? Well, what is woke? Okay? Woke is awake. It's really that simple. Woke means awake. Right? This is a movement that was started in, I believe it was in the 90s by the black community, and they were saying, they gave this name to themselves, by the way. Okay? This is not something that we labeled them. They labeled themselves woke. They said, we are awake. What are they awake to? White man, bad. White man, bad. Right? White man bad means white man is the oppressor. White man oppressing me. We're awake to an oppressor. Are we following along? So woke means I am awake to the oppressor. That's what that means. Okay? What's woke left? Because woke left is what adopted the woke, I guess you could call it, race movement. And that was the far left adopting the woke ideology of being awake to an oppressor. Their oppressor is still the white man, but it's also capitalism. It's also cis white male, the patriarchy. It just everything that is, makes a society like good. I'm not saying that women don't make society good. I'm saying that when you have a capitalist structure with a focus on Judeo-Christian ethics, etc., Western values. We talked about this a couple of days ago. So they hate that. Woke left, that's their ideology. What's their solution? Their solution is socialism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the woke left is awake to an oppressor. The oppressor is essentially conservatism, capitalism, patriarchy, white men, etc. So it's an identitarian movement, hyper-fixated on identity, right? It's like, my identity is trans, my identity is black, my identity is this, my identity is that. And the only way to fix it is to create this far left utopia of socialism, right? So, are we all following along with what woke is and what woke left is? How did it start? What is it? So, now, where did woke right come from? Right? Woke right came from people like me very early on saying, you say you're on the right, but you act a lot like the left. Okay, that's what it originally started as, for me anyway. James Lindsay has this very long intellectual explanations and definitions, and you get fucking lost, and you're like, but I mean, and I like James, but dude, fucking boring. Here's what you do. You say, okay, we know what the woke left is. That's the woke right, because they act like the woke left. Boom, I just dumbed it down for you. But to give you a little bit more of an explanation, right? Woke right is an identitarian movement, right? Focused on identity with an oppressor, and the oppressor is the Jews and the globalists, and their solution is ultranationalism, right? So do you see how it's a mirror image of the left? Because the left is an identitarian, oppressed victim mentality group with a solution of socialism. The woke right is an identitarian, oppressed victim mentality group with a solution of ultranationalism. That's really what it is. It's that simple. Now, who is the poster boy for this? Nick Fuentes, right? Now, we can argue whether or not he's on the right or the left, but he calls himself the right, and we can get into semantics about this, but for the sake of argument, this is the woke right. It is a ultranationalist movement that is constantly pushing some type of totalitarian ideology because of their victim complex. Woke right. Get it? Once you understand this, it's easier to see it, which is why I'm repeating myself so many times, right? Like if we go to Nick Fuentes' page, I haven't done this already, so I don't know what the results are going to be, but I have a feeling it's going to be a lot, right? Let's type in the word white. All right. Hammer is a Jewish extremist who believes that white people are born with anti-Semitism in their DNA. Hold on.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
I'm just going to read it. I got to give you the warning. White ass niggas going hard as fuck. Okay? That's Nick Fuentes. Now let's just do a quick scroll. We're not going to really focus on it. But look, I just typed in the word white. Okay? White. Right? Let's type in the word Jew. Jew. Right? Let's type in the word black. Black, 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 black. Do you see the point? Do you see the point that I'm making here? This kid is obsessed with identity, right? He's an identitarian. I don't care about identity. I know that a lot of people say that, like, I don't see color. No, I see color. I just don't care about it, right? I care about whether or not you're an American. I don't give a shit how much melanin you have in your skin. I don't give a shit I care about whether or not you have a destructive ideology, like, let's say, Islam. But I don't care if you have a different religion than me. I don't care if you have a different opinion than me, a different skin color than me. Nick Fuentes doesn't like J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance married an Indian woman. That's his standard for whether or not you should or shouldn't like somebody. Identity. He's an ultranationalist who supports totalitarianism. He wants the government to have more control. One of the times that Nick Fuentes addressed me on his show, he said, this is a quote from Nick about me. In a better world, I would be killed by the government, ground into dog food, and fed to poor people. Now, there's a lot of people out there, full screen. A lot of people out there, Joe Rogan, Steven Crowder, and many others who give this kid an excuse of he's trolling, right? He's funny, he's trolling, etc. And that may be partially true, right? But he also means it. That's the problem. Look, I could be really, really racist, right? And I can also do it in a really funny way, but it wouldn't negate the fact that I am racist, right? That's Nick Fuentes. It's like, yes, he's an eloquent talker. He's an idiot if you actually go and break down what he's saying and you actually go and figure out what he's saying. But he's really eloquent in the way he says it, right? It's like a smooth talking idiot looks like a smart person. They really do, right? A smooth-talking idiot really looks like a smart person. They're still an idiot. They're just a smooth-talking idiot, and that's Nick Fuentes. So I hope we cleared that up, right? We have woke right down. What is the woke right? Covered that. Who is their poster boy? Nick Fuentes. What is their movement? The Groypers. Nick Fuentes followers. That's the woke right. Now, it has branched off into different areas, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Dave Smith, et cetera, right? Where there is this hyperfixation on the Jews and Israel, because that's an identitarian movement, a victimhood mentality, right? Their solution isn't necessarily ultranationalism, which is why it's slightly different. I would say it's still woke right, but Dave Smith's a libertarian. Libertarians today are essentially anarchists. They want to rip up the Constitution, right? They want just freedom for all. They want black tar heroin to be legal, right? They want no government, which is just as bad as too much government. The solutions to these problems are not pragmatic. You want to be a pragmatic person, you want a real solution, be a constitutionalist like me, right? Understand that I live in a country with other people in it, and their rights matter, right? I want you to be able to criticize me online. I don't think that you should be able to break the law. I want you to have representative government, even if I disagree with your political ideology. I want you to have rights. I want you to have this because I believe that the founding fathers and the framers of this country made a near perfect system, right? Near perfect, not perfect, near perfect, that can be amended and changed to create as close to perfection as possible and change with the times. I believe that. That's why I'm a constitutionalist. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a libertarian. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not a white nationalist. I'm not an ultranationalist. I'm not a Christian nationalist. I'm a constitutionalist. Now, I am a Christian. I believe that nationalism, not nationalist, very different. Like Hitler was a nationalist. Nationalism, national pride, that's good, right? Nationalists, it's a slippery slope. It's kind of like saying, I'm not a communist, I'm a socialist. Okie dokie. But I think we all understand where we're going with this, right? Now, we're going to talk about something else because it really ties into this, right? We're going to talk about the Red-Green Alliance, and we're going to talk about hijacking the woke right movement, because once the outside bad actors, our foreign adversaries, our domestic adversaries, once they understand that there is a woke right movement of highly emotional identitarians who are pretty stupid, they're going to be able to easily manipulate those people, right? How are they going to do that? Well, they're going to flood their social media. They're going to flood their comment section with, yeah, go team, go, right? You just saw one of those little midgets, the Krasenstein brothers. He just got caught like a month ago posting from a backup account how he was a Trump supporter, but he forgot to switch to his backup account. He posted it on his real account. That's what people are doing. There's psyops going on where people are using backup accounts and sock accounts and bots and everything like that. And they're trying to fracture the right through the woke right, right? The woke right, stupid, easily manipulated people, all right? There are smart people on the left. Not many, but they're there, right? And they see somebody like Nick Fuentes and they go, dance, puppet, dance. They go, that's a useful idiot if I've ever seen one. Let's get him, right? He could be a Fed too. I don't know. Don't care. It is kind of weird how he didn't get popped for January 6th, even though he had a freaking bullhorn and he was like, storm the Capitol. That is a little weird. But maybe it's as simple as they didn't arrest him because they knew it would create a fracture. Maybe he's not a Fed. Maybe he literally is just a useful idiot and they were smart enough not to arrest that one. Could be that too. I see people in the chat like, this, that. Well, listen, I speak in generalizations. If you don't understand that a generalization is not a specification, I can't help you. Okay, if you don't understand that a generalization is not a specification, I can't help you. Right? I don't have time to break down how if you know somebody who fits into category A that is different than the general thing that I'm talking about, what are we doing here? All right. But we have the Red-Green Alliance, which we'll talk about in a second, but we also have our foreign adversaries that are promoting people like this, okay? So America First actually is actually when Russia Today and the Muslim Brotherhood amplify you, right? So this is Russia Today. This is a Russian propaganda network promoting Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes, right? They're like, yeah, this is exactly what's going on, right? Alex Jones, is Trump an errand boy of Israel, and how do we deal with that? Nick Fuentes, if Trump is an errand boy for Israel, then you got to shut down his government. And that means you got to go into the midterms and you got to get the Democrats in. So what we talked about, I believe it was on Monday, was accelerationists, right? Accelerationism is when you try to vote in the other party to teach your party a lesson. So you put them in power and expect that they will, like, expect that your side will be like, well, we better not tick off the white nationalists because they just made America socialist. It's the dumbest strategy that I've ever heard. It never works, right? Ever. But that's what accelerationism is. It's Nick Fuentes is essentially saying, you know, it would be really good for the right is if the left was in power. Okay. All right. Yeah. You're an idiot. Okay. But I mean, and look, you have the Muslim Brotherhood reposting Tucker Carlson. Or no, not even reposting, posting Tucker Carlson. Urgent. Tucker Carlson reveals how Israel deliberately sows chaos among America's closest Arab allies. Okay? So, you have useful idiots, right? And by the way, here's the...
Max,
oh,
can you hear Muffet for me?
Sorry.
I don't know why you got to do it.
Whoop, whoop. Here's the screenshot of those two, by the way. I was reading them and explaining them, but I forgot to switch screens. But yeah, you have Russian propaganda networks posting Alex Jones, Nick Fuentes. You have Muslim Brotherhood posting Tucker Carlson. So let's go over to this, right? This is Dr. Sheila Nazarian on Jillian Michaels. Is that her name? I think it's Jillian Michaels. And she's talking about the Red-Green Alliance. If you've never heard of the Red-Green Alliance before, it's what happened in Iran. And let her explain it.
Christians and Jews and everybody kind of got along.
They did. Until basically the Red-Green Alliance happened, which, sounds familiar here. So that's why you see the Persians, especially the Persian Jews, being so loud in America right now, because we lived this. It wasn't necessarily our parents or our grandparents or our great-grandparents with the Holocaust. This was us. Like, I lived that. My parents lived that. We escaped that.
So what is the red? Who's red and who's green?
So basically it's the...
I love Jillian. Look, I like Jillian Michaels. She's, I would say, newish, so she gets a pass. But I love how she asked, "What is that?" Right? That's a problem, by the way. And I'm sure that there are people right now in this chat watching this show that have no. Hold on.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
Fucking idea what the Red-Green Alliance is. And you should know what this is. You should know what the Red-Green Alliance is, but you don't. Some of you. You don't. But listen to Sheila explain it.
Islamists joining hands with the communists.
Oh my
And
God,
it's
which is
exactly
what's
happening here. So we've smelled, heard, tasted all of this before, and we're just staring at America being like, hell no, are we going to let America go down the way Iran went down? And it started on the college campuses. I mean, it's exactly...
have chills.
No, Jillian, it's exactly the same. So basically, in Iran, they were living the life. It was like, the Shah, and it was just same as Lebanon. It was, fashion and beauty and parties, and the college students were basically like, oh, why are there homeless people on the street while the Shah is living in a castle? Like equity.
Sound familiar?
Oh my God.
And, the Islamists basically came in, like intersectionality started there. I feel like they invented intersectionality. So the Islamists came in and used these useful idiot college students, the communists and the socialists, and started, protesting on college campuses. Exactly the same playbook. And you know what we found out? You can look this up. All the REI tents that are like $500-600 each, Iran did. It's the same playbook that they used to overthrow the Shah.
Christians and Jews and everybody.
So that is one of the best explanations of the Red-Green Alliance, right? Essentially, Iran pre-1979, well, mid-1970s, it looked a lot like, trying to think of a good comparison for today, maybe Dubai, maybe I would say that would be close, where women didn't have to cover their hair. I don't think you can be gay in Dubai, but I'm not sure if there were gay people there. But it was more of a progressive style of Islamist, which is kind of an oxymoron. And then what happened was the universities indoctrinated their socialist and communist college students, and the college students started running around going, "This is not fair. We need diversity, equity, and inclusion," right? So the Islamists, right, they came in and they started promoting the socialists and communists. That's the Red-Green Alliance, right? It is literally what's happening here, right? If you have a kid that's college age, you should be like, you don't need to go. Like, I would even suggest homeschooling. I know that's not an option for everybody, but the universities are where the indoctrination is happening, and that's where you create useful idiots. But here's the thing: universities aren't just on college campuses anymore. They're in your hand. This is a university, right? This thing right here, this is TikTok University. This is Instagram University. This is X University. And who are your professors? Whatever your favorite influencer is. And that's the problem. We can't control the information by going authoritarian and saying, oh, we have to censor people. We have to drown it out with good information. All right? We have to fight this. I'm trying to give you the tools to fight this by simply educating you. Look, I'm not an influencer. I hate that word. It's the dumbest word ever because it suggests that I want you to control the way you think. I do not want to influence any of you. I want to educate you. I want to inspire you. I do not want to influence you. I do not want to use you as a useful idiot to parrot my talking points. I do not want to sell you something. I want you to learn this shit so that you are equipped to fight this war. It's an information war. It's a civil war. And it's been going on a long time. And some of you have been walking around the battlefield with your blank in your hand. You have not had a weapon. I'm giving you the weapon. Use it. Your voice is a weapon. Your brain is a weapon. What else do we got here? This is a great point, and this is kind of unrelated, but I really wanted to touch on this. This is Dinesh D'Souza. It's only a minute 21, but what you're hearing a lot from the woke right, from the doomers, black pillars, is about how Trump is getting us into a regime change war, and regime change is always bad, right? I told you this the other day. You know what was a pretty well-known regime? The Nazi regime. Sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, regime change is actually a good thing. But here's Dinesh. We'll try to get him back on.
Texas used to be a part of Mexico, and the Mexicans broke faith with the Texans, so the Texans revolted in 1836 and created their own independent republic. Regime change. Texas joined the United States and claimed its border at the Rio Grande. The Mexicans refused. This was the start of the Mexican War, 1845 to 1848. The United States intervened on behalf of Texas and defeated Mexico. Texas got its full territory back and now became part of the United States again. Regime change. The Civil War, 1861 to 1865, produced its own regime change, or changes. The Ottoman Empire, which lasted 400 years, was finally dismembered by the Allies in World War I. It was the last of the great Islamic empires. Regime change. World War II offers many examples of regime change. The Allies produced regime change in Italy, in Austria, across Asia, and North Africa. Of course, the most notable examples of regime change are Japan and Germany. The United States intervened directly, and the results have been excellent. In the 1980s and 1990s, the United States won the Cold War. This produced regime change across Eastern Europe, in Poland, in Hungary, in Czechoslovakia, in Romania, in Bulgaria. And in every case, it was a big improvement over communist rule.
There you go. Right? So anytime you hear the talking point of regime change, remind those people that World War I was a regime change that worked out great for the world. World War II was a regime change that worked out great for the world. And in America, we've had regime change. I mean, shit, I'm pretty sure America was founded on a regime change, right? We told King George, hold on.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
You guys know what's coming. Fuck you. We said, fuck you, King George. We're gonna run shit. Right? Regime change. I mean, look, what these people are talking about is the few examples of nation building, right? And that is bad. Nation building is always bad. When the United States, the CIA, and other, government entities try to install a regime and tell people how to act, resentment builds. Okay. That's not really regime change. That's nation building, right? And we shouldn't be building other nations. We can all agree on that. But the gaslighting and the wordplay trickery where they try to make you believe that any time you overthrow an oppressive force, you're taking part in nation building is a lie, right? Regime change, good. Nation building, bad. Donald Trump has not given any indication that he wants to nation build. He wants to regime change, and he should. The Maduro regime, bad. Okay? That was the #1 drug dealer in the world, right? He should have been killed. Luckily, he was just arrested. For him and his wife get to live out the rest of their lives in a cell. Okay? But you know what's going on in Venezuela right now? The people in Venezuela are very happy because we are sending our oil companies down there to refine the crude oil that they were selling to China and to Iran and all the other people that hate America. And we are giving that money back to the people while obviously paying for our expenses. It's good for America. It's America first. It's good for Venezuela. It's Venezuelan profitable, right? The people in Venezuela are eating out of their garbage. And do you know when that started? That started when when they elected a socialist. It only took 10 years for Venezuela to go from the #3 economy in the hemisphere to eating dogs. That's socialism. And you know who aligned with the socialists? The Islamists. You know why? Because it's a fucking red-green alliance.
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs to him. Earmuffs.
Sorry. That was I didn't warn you on that one. But you understand my point. Horseshoe theory, woke right, red-green alliance, all of it's connected. You need to know this. Because I'm seeing a lot of people who are falling for a lot of shit, right? You even have people who are going like, oh, Valentina Gomez is great because she's anti-Muslim. She's an Andrew Tate simp. She's a grifter. Stop falling for the shiny object. That's influencing. Valentina Gomez is trying to influence you. I'm trying to educate you. Do you see the difference? She's trying to trick you. I'm telling you, don't listen to me. Verify everything that I'm saying, and if you can find a lie, change the channel. Because there is one thing I will never do to you. I will be mistaken at times. I'm sure I will. I've been wrong. Nobody's perfect. I will never sit here and lie to you. On purpose. Valentina Gomez, running for a seat in Texas, does a bunch of videos where she's just sensationalizing and doing this whole, like, oh, I'm anti-Muslim. Meanwhile, she is simping out for Andrew Tate, a Muslim. She's in the Nick Fuentes, Kanye West, Alex Jones social circle. Myron Gaines, Muslim. Sneeko, Muslim. I mean, these aren't real Muslims. Just like I told you about how Nick Fuentes is not a real Nazi, he's a trans Nazi. A lot of these guys, like Andrew Tate, Sneeko, and Myron Gaines, they're trans Muslims. They're just presenting. They're not real. All right, 5 minutes left. What else do we got? I do want to get to this. Okay. Look, this is tragic. Okay? But here's a photo of the 4 soldiers killed in Kuwait. We have Amor, Jens, Cody, and Cork. Just moment of silence for these guys. Mic off. When Megyn Kelly yesterday, that really pissed me off. Or was it 2 days ago? I don't know. When she was like, they didn't die for America. What a piece of shit. They didn't die. They're wearing the American uniform. Yeah, they died for America. They took an oath to defend America. They knew what they signed up for. And like I said yesterday, when Megyn Kelly said that, she basically called those 4 people idiots. She goes, you guys didn't even know. You didn't know. Taking agency away from them. Graham Allen had a really good clapback for her. I recommend you go watch that. All right. What else do we got? 3 minutes left. Let's squeeze in the last bit here. Yeah, I did want to touch on this. Matt Walsh, again, this is useful idiot, possibly, or just ignorant, like arrogant, douchey flip-flopping. But, you know, I can't take the gaslighting. Trump, 47 years. Be honest about it. Blah, blah, blah. If you guys haven't seen this post, screenshot that and read it. But it's just pointing out hypocrisy. Matt Walsh has flip-flopped on so many different things, and you're allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to change your opinion. What he doesn't do is ever admit it. So this is complete contradiction here from what he said 4 years ago, and he's basically criticizing himself in that tweet. What else do we got? Oh, damn it. I really wanted to get this one in. We only got 2 minutes left. We'll cover this tomorrow, but this speech from Carl Higbie on Newsmax, I will leave this on here. We will cover this tomorrow. One of the best monologues I've ever heard. Finally, we got the Death of Woke, the new trailer for Scary Movie is amazing. Maybe we'll try to cover that. We'll do that right now. Hold on.
My God, he stabbed her! Not her! My pronouns are they, them. He stabbed them!
Okay, so new trailer for Scary Movie. We're trending in the right direction. That scene right there is amazing. It means that Hollywood is finally listening to you. They're finally going, okay, you know what? We can actually start making fun of this woke shit. Woke right, woke left, woke up, woke down. I don't give a shit what kind of woke it is. It's always bad. It's always bad. It always leads to some type of totalitarianism, red-green alliance, or just destruction. And it's always bad, every single time. All right, 1 minute left. Let's do a couple of shout-outs. We got Amanda Collins. We got One Sandman, B-Hops, P, You're Out, Roadrunner 513, Bad Moon, I'm sure, is in here somewhere. We got Deb Pollen, Fun Mon, T. Mitchell. All right, let's get a few of those shout-outs in. And tomorrow is 2A Thursday. I will see you for 2A Thursday, and we're going to talk about Brendan Herrera. We're going to talk about some candidates. We're going to do some good stuff. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys then.
A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
that just we are the only society on Earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, of which I know many,